Oregon, among 11 other states around the country that had until today to comply with federal immigration policy or face promised consequences. Tonight, state and city leaders sending their responses to the federal government's demands. Good evening. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
And I'm Deborah Knapp. We have team coverage tonight. K2's Christina Giardinelli is breaking down response to the letter from local leaders.
But first of all, let's get to national correspondent Matt Gelka for the latest on the demands from the Trump administration and how other cities are responding in different ways.
You better comply or you're next.
Attorney General Pam Bondi gave dozens of cities and states until Tuesday to scrap sanctuary city policies or face consequences.
If they don't comply, we're going to sue them. We're going to take away your federal funding. You're going to have to comply. We're going to send in law enforcement. If you're not going to do your job, we're going to do it for you.
The Department of Justice sent letters with an ultimatum to sanctuary jurisdictions around the country. Boston's mayor defended her city's immigration policies and safety record.
Stop attacking our cities to hide your administration's failures. Yeah. Boston will not back down from who we are and what we stand for. We will not!
Bondi backed the federalization of Washington, D.C. law enforcement and declared last week that sanctuary city policies in the district, with limited cooperation between police and federal agents, were over. The threat over what's happened in D.C. extended to other cities. Louisville, Kentucky's Democratic mayor complied with the Justice Department's demands for cooperation between police and immigration agents in an effort to fend off federal intervention in his city. Louisville was not included in the sanctuary city list from the DOJ because of it.
Louisville will no longer be considered a sanctuary city by the federal government. This change in designation is critical. Cities on the sanctuary cities list right now are experiencing a terrifying increase in raids by ICE.
The Attorney General touted D.C.'s arrest numbers since law enforcement in the city has been federalized. She posted on X on Tuesday that there have been 465 arrests since federal agents and the National Guard were deployed. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
And that letter from AG Bondi also sent to Oregon Governor Tina Kotek and Portland Mayor Keith Wilson.
K2's Christina Giardinelli is live in Southeast Portland with both of their responses tonight. Christina, Wilson's response was fairly brief.
Yeah, it was. We received it just a couple of hours ago. It was all of a paragraph long, and it came from the city's attorney. Now, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek's response was more wordy, but in essence, both of the letters say the same thing, that the city and state are complying with federal law. They say just because they're not helping immigration officials does not mean they're standing in their way. Come to the table or see us in court. That was the threat U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi posted to social media last week, along with a letter she sent to 12 states and 18 cities, including Oregon and Portland. The letter gave leaders of sanctuary states and cities an August 19th deadline to respond. Complying with the deadline only, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek's response pushed back on Bondi's claim that Oregon is violating federal law. The letter reads in part, the state of Oregon, its public officials, and its law enforcement officers do not engage in conduct that thwarts federal immigration enforcement. Tung Yin, a Lewis and Clark law professor specializing in constitutional cases, explains that Kotek's response is citing a division of power between the states and federal government.
So the Congress gets to make the rules about who can come into the country and under what conditions and so on. And the states have basically no role in terms of either trying to be more lenient or more restrictive on immigration.
Immigration enforcement agents, however, often rely on states to inform them when someone in their custody is undocumented before releasing them. Oregon is one of the states with statutes that prohibit this.
The argument by the federal government is that actions like that are obstructing or interfering with the federal government. And the states and cities, I think, take the view that, no, we're not obstructing you. We're just not lifting a finger to help you.
Now, that is exactly what both Kotek and Wilson's letters say. Now, the Trump administration has already included some wording in contracts that would block federal funding as a result of sanctuary status. Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield has already filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration about this. Live in Southeast Portland, Christina Giardinelli, K2 News.
Christina, thank you for that. Now, Washington state and city leaders were also included in the list of sanctuary districts contacted by the AG's office. At a news conference today, flanked by dozens of elected officials and advocates, Washington Governor Bob Ferguson delivered his response. He says Washington state will not be, quote, bullied or intimidated by threats and legally baseless accusations.
By threatening criminal prosecutions of state officials, this letter embarrasses and disgraces the office of the United States Attorney General. Washington state is proud to be a welcoming community that values immigrants and refugees' contributions to our economy and our cultural fabric. We do so while accounting for and complying with applicable federal law.
Now, Ferguson says he's prepared to defend Washington against any litigation the Trump administration pursues. We are watching for a response from the Trump administration to these leaders' responses.
We want to know what you think. Use your phone camera to scan the QR code on your screen. Tell us, should sanctuary cities comply with federal immigration enforcement? Yes or no? And stay with K2 for continuing coverage of the federal government's new immigration policies and the impacts here in the Northwest.